Hello Space Cats! If you are desperate to make your picture book, but beyond having that amazing idea you just don't know where to start, great news! You found a channel that will help you. I'm specifically looking at back covers here, but for more general information on how to make a cover in 5 easy steps, here's the chap you'll need. Images and artwork. Having a continuation of the artwork from the front cover to the back is a nice way to knit the whole thing together, but it doesn't have to be that way. You could use different artwork or maybe a block of colour. But if you are going to use different artwork, make sure you use the same artist. Imagine if you had something completely randomly different on the back cover to the front. It would be really jarring and confusing for the reader. And it needs to be something that you can add text to. So not an image that needs to stand on its own. Not something that looks weird if there is a block of text in the middle and a barcode. ISBN. And that brings me to the ISBN, the International Standards Book Number. It's a number dedicated to your exact book. It's a way of cataloguing individual titles. There are 2 ways of getting an ISBN, at least. If you're in the UK, you can buy it from Nielsen ISBN Store, and I'll put the link to that in the description. In the US, it's Boca. And if you're in neither of those, you can do a search for ISBN purchase and then your country's name. Scroll past those few sponsored ones to get to the proper shop. In the UK, buying one ISBN is way more expensive than buying a block of 10. At the current rate, one ISBN is £91, but if you buy that block of 10, that comes to £174. So that's £17.40 versus £91, and even I can do that maths. If you're planning on making more than one book, it's definitely cost effective to buy a block of 10. But there is a free way to get an ISBN, and it comes with a caveat. If you are going down the route of Kindle Direct Publishing or similar, they will offer you a free ISBN. All good, you save yourself some money. However, if through KDP, you will only be able to sell through Amazon. You can't take your books to a local bookshop and sell them, and you can't sell online anywhere else. So you've got to weigh up what's most important to you. The ISBN is just the number. You'll have to have a barcode made up for you. If you're having your books printed, then your printer should be able to make up a barcode for you. If you buy your own ISBN and you're going to be printing your books yourself, you can ask your printer to make up a barcode for you. Or if you do want to just sell on Amazon but you want to have your own ISBN, then you can go on search for free barcode makers. There are quite a few out there. If your plan is to make a few copies of your book to give or sell to friends and family, you don't necessarily need an ISBN. You only really need it if you plan to distribute your book commercially. The blurb. How do you go about writing blurb? I mean, it's just a couple of lines of text, isn't it? There is definitely an art to getting your message across on the back cover. You ought to go and have a look at other author blurbs in your genre. Ask yourself, what sort of things are they saying? Are they asking questions, or are they giving a short synopsis, a rough outline of the story? It needs to be your elevator pitch. If you got into a lift with your ideal reader, what would you tell them about your story that's going to make them want to rush down to the nearest bookshop and buy it? It needs to be succinct and enticing, and definitely no spoilers. Do not give away the ending. A really bad example of a famous book, Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl, would be something like this. This is a story about a fox whose family are all starving and the horrible farmers keep trying to shoot him because he keeps stealing all the chickens. The nasty farmers get diggers and try to dig him out, and also they shoot off his tail. But Mr. Fox wins in the end, and all the animals live underground in a tunnel to each of the farms. You want your blurb to sound exciting. You want to make the reader feel they simply must read this story. How do you do that? by giving little glimpses of the story and hints at what happens. You need your reader to feel like they are in on something with you. And if there is a strong theme, make sure that comes through. The blurb should be in the same style as the contents of the story. So if you've written a funny book, the blurb should be funny too. Oh, and make sure you edit your blurb properly. There's nothing like a typo to put a reader off. The edges. Your text should not be too close to the edges of the back cover, the trim line. Keep all text at least 12mm away from the top and the sides. The bottom can be a little closer if you've got your website details or other information that you want to include. The price of the book. Most books that are published through a traditional main publisher will have the price on the back of the book. But if you are self-publishing, I would strongly recommend that you don't do this. This is because I've made that mistake. Sometimes you can get the pricing of your book wrong initially, either too low or too high, and you might need to change it. If you do want to change it, you don't really want to be going and putting stickers on your cover, because no matter how sticky-less they are meant to be, they're always going to leave a mark or a gummy, gluey bit, or sometimes even tear the cover. So my advice really is to not bother putting the price on there at all. What I do is when I'm out selling books or at a library, I have a piece of card with the title on and a tiny little bit of blurb, age range, and then the price on it. And you can either put that card next to your pile of books, or if you've got one standing up, just poke it in the top of your book so it's peeking out. Also, if you are really crafty and good with your hands, you can make a little stand. You could put the price on that. Call to action. Where do you want your reader to go after they've devoured your book and absolutely loved it? And no, I don't mean to the pub. You want them to go to your website or your blog or your Facebook page or your Twitter X feed. If you haven't got as far as making a website or a blog, I urge you to do this, because people, if they love your work, are going to want to find out a little bit more about you. You can do this very cheaply or for free. A lot of these platforms have a free plan. This will help you to create and retain an audience for your work. Extra information. You might have chosen some paper that's been certified by the Forestry Commission, or use recycled paper, or there might be some other piece of information that you really want to get across, like perhaps some of your proceeds are going to a charity. That sort of thing can also go on the back cover. It should go somewhere near the bottom with your call to action and your barcode and ISBN. Title. Do you need your title on the back cover? No. Simple. Quotes. You might be lucky enough to have some quotes from other authors that you want to use. You know the sort of thing. A must read, says Stephen Fry. But it must be true. It must be about your book, and the person must have actually said it, and also given you permission to use it. Failing that, if you haven't got any famous authors knocking around in your cupboard, you can always make up some silly ones. For example, I had one that said, "This is the best book I've ever written, my mum." Actually, come to think of it, she did say that. This should help you design your own back cover. But if you want more insight and help on how to make your picture book step by step, the coupon code for my course is Blast Off. And that will give you 50% off the normal cost. Hey folks, if you are as excited about books and art as I am, then you might be interested in these courses that will teach you what I know. Make a picture book step by step will help you go about writing, illustrating and publishing your own picture book. It's a comprehensive course, starting with making your key decisions and takes you all the way to making your print-ready copy. Do you need to know how to draw children, or dragons, or sea creatures? These shorter classes will help you do just that. Pop over to my website and see what's on offer. Go on, give it a go. And if you want to drag yourself over to my channel, there is a plethora of helpful videos that are going to help you on your journey to your first picture book publication. Right, I'm off to buy a bison, buff a buffalo, and potentially lie to a llama. I'll see you next week. No.